Morning. It's 7:15. Thought I'd give you a Gaffr update. We are, what is it now? 4 days, 12 hours, 39 minutes away from the launch of the championship on Friday evening. So I'm going to give you my thoughts, a couple of teams, a couple of drafts that I've done, and I'll be completely honest with you. I've done some drafts and then they've changed since that as well. It's a never-ending thing, isn't it? Drafting. They've been tampered with. So what you see on the screen is some ideas for you guys. That's what we do here. I'm quite tired, so let's see how this goes, if I'm completely and utterly honest with you. I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you so much for all the love on the channel recently. Do you know what? The YouTube channel is growing significantly. Really, really, happy with that. But then I just checked Spotify as well, actually, when I was logging into things. And actually, that's got a ton of new followers as well, which I didn't notice. So, again, I forget that YouTube is not the only thing that people listen to this on. So thank you so much. Like, honestly, the fact, the loves, the comments, it's been really, really nice to see. Because I was skeptical about doing things on my own and putting time into it, because it is time consuming and costly as well, if I'm completely and utterly honest. So yeah, love it. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. So I've done 3 teams today. We've got 3 teams, different teams, obviously different players. We'll give or take 1 or 2 who are probably completely locked. And then we've got a look at the fixtures and some more thoughts, because I've done the fixtures before with my thoughts. I've changed obviously the thoughts a little bit going in as we get closer to kick off. This is team number 1, which is probably my kind of closest to my real team at the moment. I'll read it out for the benefit of audio, obviously. Oh, I've just knocked down Tim Flowers. Sorry, Tim. Kovacevic from Norwich, Panda of Hull. I'm not going to do teams. Then we've got Davis, Bowler, Justin, Deneve, and Gillespie. Mavadidi, Sakamoto, KMB, Schmodix, Awata, Marja, Hurst, and Reese. And I quite like the balance of the team. You've got, decent strikers there. Good 1 or 2 real standout midfielders with a good supporting cast. And then 1 or 2 probably the best defenders. But also covering that high ownership, I think, is the main thing there. Speaking yesterday to the Gaffr group I'm in, or one of many, obviously there is a flag over Davis's head at the moment because he's got a knock. And I said, well, it's only a knock, it should be absolutely fine. But even, they said, he might not make game week 1. It is only 4 days away. And I was like, well, he's the most highest owned player in the game. Surely you just bench him for a game. But then it was actually FPL Irons, bless him, if everyone remembers FPL Irons. He's somewhat quiet in the community these days, but he was brilliant. He still plays many fantasy games. That's great. But he said, they've got Southampton game week 2. Now, personally, and I think you'll come into this later on, I'm not big on Southampton, if I'm totally and utterly honest with you. I don't know why. There's something about the team this year that doesn't fill me with as much confidence as Leicester, as Ipswich, etc. The guys who have been in the Championship as well for a while, Middlesbrough, people like that. I don't know why. I just don't feel Southampton on paper. I don't know. They're not strong, and I just have a feeling about them, which is why you never really see many Southampton players in my teams here. But yeah. It's a good point. Are you spending 7.5 million on a player that's potentially missing the first game week, and then, which is a good game as well, by the way, and then not playing the second game week? So he has got a flag above his head now. Do I downgrade him to somebody else with a plan to get to him? More food for thought when I leave here and have a little tamper again. And the reason I'm doing this today, guys, is number 1, as I said, we've only got 4 and a bit days left, but I'm actually away at the end of this week. I'm on holiday on the Friday when it kicks off. So I will probably be getting the kids to bed on Friday night and then sitting in a hotel room on my laptop watching it. It's Birmingham Ipswich, isn't it? The first game, I think. So yeah, it'd be a good one. So that's the idea with that one. Is it Birmingham Ipswich? He's just said that so confidently. It is Birmingham Ipswich. Yeah, of course it is. So yeah, he's a flag. But otherwise, I really love the balance of this. this team is set up for an away days in game week 3 as well. So if I play a couple of transfers, build them up, obviously, and then play them on game week 3, I could get a kind of a full 11. And why I like that, I've got Deneve. So Blackburn are away to Hull. Bristol City are away to Derby. So there's 2 players there. Ipswich are away to Preston. Leicester are away to Charlton. 2 big teams, 2 very good fixtures on paper. Ipswich versus Preston and Leicester versus Charlton. You'd be expecting a win. Try and get a Middlesbrough player in. They're away to Norwich. And from there, it kind of looks quite nice. So the idea of that is, this team was not only my favourite one, but it was also set up to play away days. And I had Watford. It's got 2 Watford players, and they're away to Swansea. So this is a game week 3 away days team. Now, the other teams don't all go look for that. But when I created this team, it just so happened to be like, I was like, they've got some good fixtures in game week 3. So this could be me playing this team or very close to what you see. I am heavy on Ipswich. That's obviously, but I do think they're a little bit unknown. They did play a friendly yesterday, I believe. Schmodix played, Hurst played, Davies didn't, obviously. But yes, Schmodix and Hurst, I think, are an absolute lock. Hurst has been very good in pre-season. Sakamoto, who will play, and he's very good, but part of me really wants Jack Rudoni, and I don't know how to get to him without downgrading either Mavadidi or Schmodix. That one is a bit of an up in the air. Could I use money from Davis? The answer is yes, I could, and I might. But then do I really need 3 9.5 midfielders, giving myself a huge benching headache? Or do I just play them every week and not forget about it? I've got 2 Watford. Are they going to be okay? I think they've invested quite nicely. I think they look great. So that's fine by me. Marja and Reese, are they kind of hit or miss? I think that's... Marja was injured a lot last season. It's difficult. Obviously, Reese has moved from Preston to Bristol City. And I think he'll be the main man up front. And they've done all right in pre-season, actually, as well. So I'm not, like, when I wrote that, I was like, well, it is true. They are 8 million and 7 million apart. So what do I, let's see what happens with them. But I like them. I think they'll be the main strikers. So Bristol City haven't got the easiest fixtures at the start, I don't believe. But it is what it is. And then I think it's a good, strong bench as well. Is it too strong, though? Apart from Gaffr, who obviously plays for Charlton, but he is a playing 4.5 million defender, albeit at Charlton. But, all the time I'm going to have a kind of maybe a benching headache. I don't think I'll ever be really, apart from game week 1 where I might bench Reese or Rice, a very difficult decision. Yeah, it's a tough one, but I like Team 1. Still think it's balanced. Maybe I'll download Davies and upgrade Sakamoto to Rudoni. And I've still got a 6 million defender there. So when I need to, I could take one of the 9.5s out, put Davies in, and then go back. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe that's the plan. Okay. Team 2. So Team 2's got the highest 2 owned defenders in the Davis and Burrows. So, Davis was a lock for me, but as I've just mentioned, maybe not. But Burrows, again, is huge. It's not set up for any future chips, this one. This one's got more of the Southampton and the Sheffield United players, because previously I've got no Sheffield United players, and maybe that's because I was looking at game week 3 wildcard, and I think game week 3 Sheffield United have got Millwall at home. So that's why they don't exist in there. And when I look at Southampton, and I'll go through a bit of the teams and who else I was considering after, I put a Dozy in, thinking 8 million of Dozies, that's not bad at all. But I spoke to a Southampton fan yesterday who was telling me that Edozi's not expected to stay. I think he was going somewhere in Germany. So he's out. But is this squad more balanced? You've got and I'll read it out for the benefit of audio. The goalkeepers have never changed, by the way. I've got Kovacevic from Norwich and I've got Panda of Hull. Those two, I think, they rotate quite nicely. I think those are going to be my keepers going forward, which is why I've never changed them, and I've not really. And for the benefit of this, I just couldn't be bothered to find 2 new keepers who I thought would be a good option. There's plenty of options of goalkeepers, but no one in Gaffr really is spending that 6 million level or, on a goalkeeper. Some might, but it's not for me. So those are the goalkeepers. Davis again, Burrows, Dickey of Bristol City, Stacey Norwich, Giles is Hull. Yes. And then that's another problem. Panda and Giles is a double up there for Hull. Arguably a very good defence, actually. One of the best in the league, strangely enough, but I'm not that brave. And then in midfield, we've got Hamer, Rudoni, Edozie, Knight, and Dozzell. And up front, we've got Haji Wright, Lee Bird of Charlton, and then Sakamoto of Watford, who is, I believe, a new signing, who hopefully will do quite well for them. So it's quite a nice balanced squad. Like you've got two defenders. In fact, the defense is probably quite strong. You've got 2 defenders there, one 7.5, one 7. You've got Dickey at 5.5 and Stacey at 5. They will be playing defenders all the time. For decent enough clubs as well. So that's a really good defence, possibly too good. Could I downgrade Dickey or Stacey and then put money somewhere else? The midfield, though, has got Hamer and Rudoni, which is hugely strong. I don't need to tell you about Gustavo Hamer. Anybody who plays in the Championship and watched, Sheffield United know how good he is. Knight for Bristol City did very well last year. I imagine he'll do very well. Obviously, Mehmeti is the other one. That I had considered, but I didn't think much of Bristol City's team last year, and they did really, really well. So I can't ignore them this year. Excuse me. And Dozzell is a little bit of fodder, if I'm completely and utterly honest with you. He is playing fodder, but it is what it is. Haji Wright, obviously I've gone with a 10 million striker there as well. There's quite a few of them. Or large, of course, premiums. He should be the main striker of Coventry, but I think he'll share a bit of time with Ellis Sims. And then Lee Bird of Charlton, well, he's cheap and he played a decent amount last year, so we'll see what happens with him. Do I see Charlton doing very well in the league? No, unfortunately for them. And then Sakamoto of Watford. So again, I think he'll be one of the main strikers at Watford. They've just signed him. He's Portuguese. Apparently, they were very excited about signing him. So let's see. I've put the strike forces weak, though. Wright is very good, but Charlton won't score many. And Watford do have also a guy I'm not going to try and pronounce. Let's just say he's Scandinavian. And he'll rotate with Sakamoto. Possibly they could play all together. When I was speaking to somebody from a Watford fan, let's try it. Kurumgard. I don't think I did too badly there. So yeah, that's the other problem with the striker. And is it midfield heavy with Hamer, Rudoni, and Edozie and Knight? Yeah, a benching headache. And then I'm always going to be playing a 3-4-2 or a 4-4-2 as well. So the more you kind of load up on defenders where they're all really good, the more you're inclined to play them. So you've got to be careful of balance too. So that is team 2. Team 3 is wildly different. Again, it chucks in a few more different players. This one is, I guess, slightly more heavy on the strikers. So it's more balanced, but every defender in this one's usable. It's even stronger on the defense than the previous one. Again, benefit of audio, same 2 keepers. Same with Davies. And then we've got Coley of Leicester. We've got Ayling of Middlesbrough, Tanganga, Millwall, Coventry, Bidwell, Azaz, Dibbling, Nunez, Vyman, Rankin, Costello, Sargent, Archer, and Teskel. Well, the 9.5 midfielders are really, really interesting, I think. It's going to be who gets the right combination of them. I think the right combination will be Mavididi, Rudoni, Schmodix. Azaz, can he perform again this year? I haven't seen Middlesbrough make too many signings or many improvements to what they had last year. And they were good, but there is teams that are now way better than them. The 3 that came down, Birmingham that came up, probably quite good as well, actually, strangely enough. So, and the people around them have made some signings. So, I think it might be a tough one for Middlesbrough this year. So, as perform again, I think it could be quite tough. I've heard Dibbling might be leaving, which is a shame because I'd like to have seen him in the Championship doing quite well. But there's a chance he'll leave, and in all fairness, he was very good in the Premiership, really. So I can understand that. So he might not be there. Norwich, the midfield here is quite weak. You got Nunes then for Norwich, who's not bad at all. Obviously, Sainz left at Norwich, so Nunes will play slightly more. We'll see how they get on, but they have made some decent signings. They kept on Sargent, which is a key one as well, I think. Obviously, Andres Weimann moved to Derby. He's 5.5, but it depends on how well you think Derby will do. But Weimann has got previous in the Championship, so we know he's capable of doing things. Rankin Costello, obviously ex-Blackburn player. We sold him through to Charlton. Good luck. I think he's a good player. 5 million, he's definitely going to play for Charlton most games. So you've got a 5 million player and Charlton defender there if you want one. If they suddenly start to do very well, he will get a lot of assists. So, fair play. I just think he uses up a midfield slot, and when sometimes he can play defence as well. So, yeah, it's a tricky one. And then, that up front, Sargent, Archer, and Tesco. Well, forget about Tesco. He's just not going to play. He's kind of more of a fodder. I mean, he should play a decent amount, but I don't expect him to be scoring loads for Stoke. So it's Sargent and Archer who are the main people there. It's if you trust that Southampton team, if Dibbling's missing and then one or two others apparently. So I think Cameron Archer up front there and Sargent is very, very strong. So again, not a terrible draft. My least favourite of all the drafts I put are, have you got a benching headache each week with the midfielders and defenders? You possibly have, actually. You're going to be wanting to play in at least 4 on each, aren't you? So you've got at least 8 players there. So it's 4-4-2 most weeks, I imagine, there. But again, then your bench is not going to be strong. What is your bench going to be? Well, it's hard to bench any of those defenders, to be fair. So it could be a 5-4-1, but you're not benching Sargent or Archer, are you? So it's definitely going to be a decent defender missing out, Bidwell maybe. And then you can have sort of Rankin Costello and Teskel. It's not the strongest bench in the world. As we know, the games come thick and fast in Gaffr. So it's always good to have a good bench because you get players, you get a game on Saturday and a game on Tuesday and they rotate. And that's one thing we've massively learned. If you haven't ever been stung by a Gaffr benching, you haven't played Gaffr. Okay, that was team 3. So final thoughts, really, and again, I brought up the Opta data for the fixtures. I'm still on 2 or 3 Leicester and Ipswich. Arguably the 2 strongest teams. I think with 4 days left to go, there's not going to be too much more movement in reality. I think the teams you're looking at now are in the sort of pre-season are the ones that are finalised. So Ipswich, yesterday's team, looked great. Had Hurst, had Schmodix. Very, very happy with that. Leicester too. I wish Leicester had a decent striker. I think the only one they've got in the game was Patson Daka, and I don't know. We all know Patson Daka. He's been there for a good couple of seasons, and he's never really done anything. But at the same time, they had Jamie Vardy, but he has now left. So, what's going to happen? Are they going to sign somebody, or they're running out of time to do so? So maybe Patson Daka will be their striker going into the Championship. Now he is fast. He just can't finish very well. He's not the greatest finisher. But if you can just find that, he's going to get enough supply because they've got great midfield. So watch Daka. I think he's 8 million as well, which isn't bad. It's definitely a consideration. My Southampton love has died out, and I'll go and look at the teams in a minute and give you a little other players I was looking at and thinking. There's a couple. I can't ignore Watford's good start, which is why I've got 2 of them. Watford's start is Charlton away, QPR, Swansea, Southampton, Blackburn, Millwall, Hull, Portsmouth, Oxford. They literally have some of the really low teams in that in that run. So yeah, you can't ignore Watford. I think they're very, very good. It makes me kind of maybe consider going for Sakamoto as well. We'll think about that. I want a Coventry player, but as I put Rudoni, Sakamoto, Ellis, Ellis Sims, Haji Wright. I don't know who to go for. I don't think I want them defensively, but again, they have got a good start. And my keepers are locked, as I mentioned previously as well. I think the Norwich and Hull keeper rotate okay, and they're a decent enough price, and that's kind of where I've got with them. So that's kind of the final thoughts based on the fixtures. Now, I wanted to go into a few players that I did look at. I think it's always worth doing. Always worth into. Now, I mean, I said about the keepers earlier. There are some 5.5 keepers. You know, Wilson and Dovin of Coventry are both 5.5. You can get the right one. O'Leary of Bristol City is 5.5. I just don't like spending 5.5 on a keeper. Like everyone does cheaper keepers, don't they? It's the one I did like, and I don't know how QPR are going to be, but Nardi is 5 million. I think Nardi is a good shout for QPR. The defenders, the other ones I looked at, I kind of like West Brom. West Brom have a nice enough start, but and I might well do Davies to Darnell Furlong of West Brom, who we know before from the Championship has done very well for West Brom. He can certainly get clean sheets and assists. Less so last year, I think. The year before that, he was very, very good for assists. I think he got quite a few. Hamadozovic I can never say that name. Hamad Odzic of Sheffield United is another one I've considered at 6 million as well. But again, there are 6 and 5.5 million defenders all over Gaffr, which really looks strong. Now, midfielders, there's so many of them. Leicester's Fatawu is one I considered, but he's been injured. Amari Hutchinson of Ipswich, he looks like he's going to be moving on as well. Although time is running out for these players to move on. So, it's all rumours, isn't it? But I think Brentford, was it Brentford who made a bid for him? But he's still there. He didn't go. So, if it comes to the start of the season and there's not looking likely, Amari Hutchinson at 10 million, we know what he's capable of. So definitely worth a look. As I mentioned earlier, Southampton, they have got Brereton Diaz, who, when the Southampton fan put his team on paper, he didn't put him in, which I thought was strange. So maybe they're not expecting him to play or be a starter, which is a real fall from grace from Brereton, considering how well he did for Blackburn. Then he moved to somewhere in Spain. Didn't do very well at all. He's come back and now he's not playing. You should have fucking stayed where you were, mate. That'll teach you right. Same goes for Adam Armstrong as well, who we'll come on to very shortly. You should have fucking stayed as well. One of Chaplin or Broadhead for Ipswich is 8.5 million. Both very good players. Ipswich have got too many good players. The one for Leicester that I will consider, because I think he can play up front as well, which might get rid of the Pats and Daka shit, is El Canus. He's been in my team. He's a midfielder at 8.5, but he can play up front. And I was told a while back that he wasn't going to be staying, but he still is there. And again, if he does stay, it's one of those where I'll be looking to potentially put him in quite quickly. So yeah, he's another one. The one new signing for QPR, Poku, is one to watch. I think he's 7 million. I've had him before, but I don't really trust QPR, to be fair. and then strikers, there's a lot of them, and that's the kind of Furuhashi is another one for Birmingham up there. Spoke about Downs of Southampton. That's the guy who's expected to play up front, even over potentially Archer, and they've got Armstrong as well. So they are littered with decent players up top, but it's who's going to play and who's going to stay at the end of the day. Conway of Middlesbrough is 8 million, and there's some. I'll tell you what, the Gaffr guys price things really, really well. They always have. You've got to try and find the guys who are going to smash it, haven't you? That's the key. That's the key. All right. Okay. 25 minutes. I've rattled on long enough. Giving you some team ideas, giving you some players. This is the first of 3 pods this week. I'm going to be doing one for the Dream Team and then one for FPL as well. Trying to get them all in before I leave for a long weekend. Because when I get back, the Championship will have started and we will be on the road. 4 days left until the Premiership. So, thank you very much. Continue following, liking, subscribing, and all the good stuff that my silly little face wants you to do there. I really appreciate it. And good luck as well. There's over 2,000 people playing Gaffr, I found out yesterday, which is awesome. Good luck. Hopefully, I'll see you at the top. Cheers.